morning, and I'm excited to be here. But before I express my excitement, let me express my heartmost gratitude to my mother in the faith, Pastor Gladys Paswani, whose page we are on this morning to talk leadership. And so, thank you so much, Mom. If you're watching this now or later, thank you so much for the privilege of opening up the platform that we've been learning on, but also for inviting us onto the platform to be able to share some thoughts every now and then, as you have done consistently over the years. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm hoping to see some hands clapping emojis in the chat. Somebody celebrating Mom Paswani, somebody saying thank you to Mom Paswani, somebody saying we love you. So my name is Ndashka Pembwa, and I do serve Mom Paswani as her executive assistant, which I have the absolute privilege of being able to do. I've worked with her now for a couple of years, and it's been an amazing journey. Learning in person, learning by watching, learning by direct lessons, as unguided and guided learning as we were taught back in school. So it's been an absolute privilege. And of course, I am an author, I'm a speaker, I'm a writer. I love all things communication, and I love all things leadership. I'm a student of leadership. I love to teach leadership. I love to coach on leadership, and that is a little bit of my world. And I do attend Anointed Life Ministries, where I serve as a deacon as well. And so whenever I hear leadership, for me, something about me gets excited. Something about me comes alive. Whenever I hear leadership, I do not know about you, but leadership is an exciting subject for me, because it does so much. There's a way that you and I have been led in different spaces that we can attest to the fact that leadership is so critical. You know, it's so critical. So just a little bit, some shout outs as we go on. Victoria Mukonde, good to see you. Saying good morning there. Good morning to you. I did see my wife joining in as well. Good morning to you. And I saw James as well. Good to have you on the live. And please keep tagging, keep sharing. And we're about to have an amazing conversation. Let me start off with a story, even as I see some of your comments still coming up, and I'll be shouting out as you know, those that I can. But of course, we still want to get into the conversation. So let me start with a quick story. Back in 2016, I think, if I'm not mistaken, back in 2016, for those of you, if we have crossed paths, then you probably know that I'm a CBU alumni. I went there in 2014. I was at CBU from 2014 to 2019, not 2019, from 2014 to 2019. And that space of time was quite interesting for me, because I was thrust in leadership from early on. So I got to CBU as a first-year student, but the year we are coming to the end of that academic year, I got into leadership as a poetry director. Again, that's another part of my story. I did do poetry. It was a big part of my life, spoken word poetry, that is, and just writing as well. So I became poetry director, and I remember, you know, casting this vision board and thinking about all the things that I would want to achieve, the things that I would want to do. So I had this strategic life plan, which I've been encouraging people to do every now and then. So basically what I did was I looked at where I was in 2014, where I would want to be in 2 years' time, and where I would want to be in 5 years' time, in different key areas of my life. So I had things like my spirituality, my leadership, my ministry, my relationship, etc. Right? So I had all those areas, and under the ministry, I had, like, in 2 to 3 years time, I had a vision that I should be able to lead a fellowship such as Chi Alpha. That is what I had projected. Right? So that's me as a first-year student doing my strategic life plan and projecting that, you know what, in 2 to 3 years, I should have the capacity to be able to lead. And I didn't say I will be able to lead or I will be in a position of leadership, but I just had a vision of the capacity that I wanted to build to be able to lead at that level. So that was me projecting, right? Of course, more shout-outs. NLS, good to see you. And I see you're tagging others as well. So those were my projections, and I'm thinking about that. But lo and behold, second year came, and I'm projecting it by third, fourth year, not by second year. But by second year, it comes around, and my name comes up to become chairperson, or to be nominated as chairperson for this fellowship. And for those of you that are familiar with Chi Alpha CBU in particular, it's quite a massive fellowship. You know, one of the biggest Pentecostal fellowships on campus. So I was thinking to myself, how is this happening? I had projected things, I was getting ready, but let me cut the long story short. We had the elections, and I was elected as chairperson, as the next chairperson for Chi Alpha. Now, during inauguration night, something strange happened within my heart, right? And I say strange because you understand in a moment when I tell you what happened was strange to me. So inauguration night comes around, and we're inaugurated into office. I'm introduced as chairperson, and at the end of that meeting, people are happy for you, they're excited for you, and they're coming and congratulating you. So they were coming, congratulations, chair, congratulations, chair, congratulations, chair. So it was the night of receiving congratulatory messages. And in my heart of hearts, I'm wondering, why is everyone congratulating me? Why? I was having a strange experience because I'm trying to figure out, why am I being congratulated? And of course, probably you're wondering, isn't that the right thing to do? Isn't that the thing that you should expect if you've been elected into such an office? Shouldn't that be expected? Yeah, it should be expected. And they didn't do anything wrong. It wasn't about the people, it was about me. And here is why I had that kind of experience. I had that kind of experience in receiving the congratulatory messages because of how leadership was modeled to me, because of the expectation that I had for myself. So for me, the moment my name was announced as the next chairperson for the fellowship, I am thinking in my heart, I'm thinking service, I'm thinking sacrifice, I'm thinking sleepless nights sometimes, I'm thinking hard work. That is all I'm thinking. So I'm not thinking about the excitement of, I'm chair, hey, I'm thinking about the sacrifice that was going to come with this announcement. That's all I'm thinking about. Were the people wrong to congratulate me? They were not. But there was a way leadership was modeled to me that gave me that kind of heart posture. And you would think leadership was modeled to me in this way by I don't know who, but leadership was modeled this way to me by my own mother. She's not a public speaker as I am in terms of being on these platforms like this, doing lives and writing books and everything. But as a mother, from home to church, as I watched her, she modeled a certain kind of leadership that made me attach leadership and sacrifice and hard work. That's the lens through which I saw leadership. And to make this point even much more clearer, I called her and I told her I had been elected as chairperson. She made one statement. She said, don't be a boss, be a servant. And of course, these are some of the lessons that I picked up. And today we are talking about lessons I learned. And of course, we watch to see where mom takes this conversation, but it's about lessons that I learned. And I want us to start with that story in particular because I don't know if you've ever paid attention to yourself to really think about how leadership has been modeled to you, especially in the formative years of your life. Because however leadership was modeled to you in one way or the other is affecting not only your approach to leadership, but your perception of leadership. So how was leadership modeled to you? However way it was modeled to you, to a certain degree, it is affecting how you lead, it is affecting how you see leadership, it is also affecting how you probably look at leaders. So how was leadership modeled to you? It was modeled to me as sacrifice, it was modeled to me as service. And those were the formative years of my life. So it's affected my perception to an extent that when that happened, I was thinking, oh, I'm stepping into deep sacrifice here. So that's a question that is important to ask. It's one of the lessons that I picked up that is important for us to ask the question of how leadership was modeled to us. In fact, even if you think about it on a much, much larger scale, right? If you think about us as a country or you think about Africa as a continent, there's a way that leadership was modeled to us in the pre-independence. So think about Zambia pre-independence. Think about a lot of African countries pre-independence, right? Those that we saw as our masters model a certain kind of leadership. So what things could happen? So probably people, would walk into rooms and they They would show up, but we're not allowed to speak. So they would just, save, but not allowed to speak. They would do all kinds of work, but not allowed to speak. And I'm saying this just in a summarized sense because we know that there's a loss that happened during that entire struggle, pre-independence, right? But there was a ripple effect, or there were remnants even after independence because of how leadership was modeled to us as a country or as a continent. There are some ripple effects that we began to experience, or remnants of that kind of modeling or model of leadership, which wasn't really, some of it we can't even really call leadership, but I hope, quote unquote, you hear what I'm saying when I say leadership. I'm just referring to those that were in positions of authority, right? In positions of authority. Yes, Chivesa, we want to ask that question. How was leadership modeled to you? Because it affects your perception, right? So we did have and still do have some remnants from being colonized. And some of those remnants look like, it looks like you and I now, when we step into positions of authority, right? When we are authorized, when you become the choir director, or you become the director in your workplace, or you're the CEO, or whatever capacity you come into a position of leadership, maybe even just coming into being a parent, right? Or in my case, being a husband, right? The remnants of colonialization look like wanting to be the only voice that speaks. It looks like thinking or equating leadership to dominance. Those are some of the remnants that we now struggle with because of how leadership was modeled to us. So we want to dominate each other because that's how we saw what we defined as leadership. So you and I have to start looking back. You and I have to start thinking about what leadership has looked like in your own life, in your past, and what is the good that you're carrying from whatever experience that was, but also what are some of the negative effects or impact that the way leadership was modeled to you has on you. So that's a question, a basic question that I thought we would start from by asking that question. But there's also a kind of leadership that I observe from the greatest leader of all time. The greatest leader of all time is named Jesus Christ. So the Bible has great leadership lessons. There's a lot we can learn from there, and I'm just sharing some of the lessons I learned. And of course, I have this biasness to leadership. I will not try to speak like mom because I'll fail miserably, so I'll speak from my well of passion, and from what God has privileged or graced me to be able to see. So the greatest leader of all time is Jesus, and there's a lot we can learn as far as leadership is concerned from Jesus. And one of the things as well, let me just take a moment to say this. Mom has always emphasized, Mom Paswani, that is emphasized how we look at leadership, not to look at it as merely a position, but you want to look at the practice, the work that we are doing in terms of leadership. And so the statements that I would make to you and I is this: not everyone who leads is in a position, and not everyone in a position leads. All right? Not everyone who leads is in a position, and not everyone in a position leads. Because leadership is about having the courage and having the stamina, having the character to be able to inspire behavioral change or to move people towards a desired goal that improves the status quo, right? So not everyone in a position leads, and not everyone who leads is in a position, or vice versa. You can say it either way. It's important for us to understand that. Now, going back to Jesus as the greatest leader of all time, one of the models that I've seen in how he led that is amazing is just, there are many, there are so many, but let's just pick one, right? Jesus goes in Matthew 4 calling the disciples, the first disciples that he called. So he goes to Peter and he makes these statements that I want us to break down a little bit as we share some of the lessons that I learned. So he goes to Peter and says, "Come, follow me, I will make you fishers of men. Of course, there's Peter, there's Andrew, later there's James and John. Come, follow me. I will make you fishers of men. 3 key things that we can take from there that I want to discuss with you as some of the lessons. And I have a whole bunch of lessons, but I won't get to all of them. I think I have about 25 lessons that I would want to share with you. I'll share maybe 5 of those. So he says, come follow me. He invites them into relationship, right? But he also invites them into submission, because he's saying, come follow me. So that's number 1, relationship and submission. I will make you, transformation, fishers of men, assignment. Okay, so let's break that down again. Come follow me, relationship / submission. I will make you, transformation, fishers of men, assignment. And so this is the model, this is the Jesus model that I've observed of leadership, or that I have learned of leadership. Whenever we have the privilege to lead in any capacity, as a sibling, as a parent, as a director, as a business owner, in whatever capacity we have the opportunity to lead or to model a way that improves people's lives, that improves our world. Remember, not everyone who leads is in a position. So you may not have the CEO title, you may not have the director title, because not everyone who leads is in a position. But for as long as you are looking to inspire change, for as long as you're looking to direct or to challenge the status quo, to move things forward, this is something that you and I can learn from. Relationship / submission, transformation, assignment, the Jesus model. What does this all look like? And what does it even mean? So we can look at this in 2 ways. We can look at it first from the angle of the leader as a follower. So think about yourself being Peter, being Andrew, being John, being James. That's the leader as a follower. But we can also think about this as you being actually the one leading the process. So there's a leader as a one who is initiating the process, but there's also the leader as a follower. And I'm calling you a leader because you are. There is no way you and I can have this mandate of dominion according to Genesis 1, 26 to 28. There's no way we can have the mandate of dominion and not have an inclination or an appetite for leadership. In one way or the other, there's going to be need and a call to lead. All right. So let's talk about relationship / submission. Come, follow me. So relationship is so critical because it's the foundation of heart exchange. And what I mean by that is, it is from relationship that we begin to learn the heart of God, just like it is from relationship that we begin to learn the heart of the visionary. So if you are in a company, or if you are leading a company, you are leading a department, or you are in a department being led, the way to begin to understand what the heart of the leader, or the way for people to begin to understand your heart as a leader, is by a certain level of relationship existing. Now, relationship doesn't mean bodies, but it means ability to relate. It means ability to have a common understanding. It means ability to at least be able to communicate one with the other. So there has to be some form of relationship. Okay. And let me also just bring in, I think this is a good opportunity for me to throw in another lesson. It was supposed to be a standalone lesson, but I put it here because I think it sits well. Okay, it is there's a difference between being respected and being trusted. Just because someone is respected doesn't mean they are trusted. You can be respected, but not trusted. And one of the things that are critical for one to be able to influence change or to inspire change is to be trusted. You can be respected. I can be respected, but being respected doesn't mean I'm trusted. So is it 3 years ago now? I moved from a different town to come into Lusaka, and my moving to Lusaka also meant that I moved to a different church. And whatever I had done in the past, be it at CBU, be it in my last town in Mfulira, whatever I had done in whatever organization I had existed in before, excuse me, whatever organization I had existed in before, all that influence, all that cachet I had, all that trust that I had built with people, when I moved to a different city and different church, it all came down to zero. There were people that probably knew me from before, that had seen my work or read my book or something before. Probably they had a healthy respect for me, but didn't mean they trusted me. And just because they respected me, didn't mean they trusted me. And because they respected me, didn't mean they'll be able to come to me or can sit with me and be able to allow me to lead them or allow me to talk to them when they are going through a challenge. Because respect is not equal to trust. So then that trust over the years has to be built and still being built, right? So relationship is a foundation of trust. When we begin to build relationship, even people allow us to lead them beyond our job description, our title, or our age, whatever the case may be. Because relationship is a basis for heart exchange. It is when we are in relationship with God that we can understand His heart, His vision, and then we can give Him our hearts as well. So relationship is a foundation, for heart exchange, for building of trust. All right? I hope you're still with me. Just taking the time here. Oh my goodness, I'm not doing so good. But I'll be done in good time. So it is a foundation. It is a foundation of trust. The other aspect that I added there is submission, coming under a mission. That is why when Jesus was calling the disciples, and when you and I have an opportunity to lead, one of the things that we have to learn is how to cast vision or have a clear mission that matters. You know, people don't simply submit to a plan. You know, they just don't commit to a person. They commit to a vision. They commit to a mission that matters. And Jesus had a clear-cut mission. Come follow me, I will make you fishers of men. So there was an agenda of fishing people. There was an agenda of turning back people towards God, of going against the power and the bondage of sin. There was a clear mission. So whenever you and I communicate with people, or you are starting a business, you are leading a department, you are starting a business, like I said. And it may be as simple as a hair salon. You know, management is so easy, but leadership is hard work. You may be doing something as simple as, okay, it's not even simple anyway. You're running a pastry business, or a hair salon, a barber shop, a clothes business, whatever the case may be, but a vision that matters is essential. And what I've realized over the years in working with different people, and just from general observation, is that it is one of the things that we pay attention to last. So we may know everything that we do in terms of what we do. What do? We are a business that is involved in hairdressing. We are a business that supplies clothes or perfumes. We're a business, we run a restaurant, we provide quality food, lunch, breakfast, dinner. We are the best in town. We tend to pay particular attention to what we do, and we tend to communicate that so well. This is what we do, this is what we are about. But then what is often missing is why we are about that business. What is often missing is why that business. And when we begin to communicate the why, when we begin to communicate the mission that matters, the vision, it is what fuels, it is what goes beyond what we do. It is where we find common ground with people, that they're not just committing to a plan, they're not just committing to actions, but they're committing to a vision. They are committing to a vision. Come follow me, I will make you fishers of men. Right? So this is where the hard work of leadership as well lies, because management is about moving the hand. It's about getting things done. And this won't be me speaking against management, because it is absolutely essential. So management is about getting things done. It's about moving the hand. But leadership is about moving the heart. So that's why you need both. You need to move the hand, but you also need to move the heart. In fact, You need to move the heart before you move the hand. And that's what leadership does. It moves the heart, right? People that were unwilling to engage in certain things, all of a sudden, their hearts have been moved to a state where they are more willing. Yes, Chaka, I see your comment, right? So all of these things are absolutely essential. So that's the first part. I haven't even gone to the third part of this. So there was come follow me, which is relationship, the basis of heart exchange, the basis of understanding the vision, casting vision, but also understanding the vision. The second part, I will make you. So what Jesus did is he put on himself the responsibility for those that he led to become, because he said, I will make you. I will make you. A few lessons from that statement here. We are made by what we follow. We are made by what we follow. So whoever has access to your eyes, to your ears, to your heart, is shaping who you're becoming. We are made by what or who we follow. Come, follow me, I will make you. This also means that if you and I are in a position of leadership, we have to be very cognizant of the fact that what we are communicating or how we are handling ourselves is contributing to what people are becoming as we lead them. It is such a great responsibility to be in a position of leadership or to desire leadership. It's a noble desire, but it's also a great responsibility. And so the disciples were going to be transformed as they followed. You and I are transformed as we follow. And one of the things that is important about transformation as well is transformation is a foundation of consistent modeling. When these disciples are following Jesus and Peter is becoming a bold and courageous man, they are changing, they are transforming as they follow, as they are being taught, as they are watching, they are being transformed. And the state that they are in becomes the state from which they lead. And to be able to model a certain lifestyle or way consistently, it means you have become, right? Because we can teach what we know, but really we can only replicate who we are. And for you to be able to model a certain kind of leadership consistently, it means you have become that thing. That is why transformation for you and I who wants to make an impact, who wants to be world changers, who want to be world transformers, transformation is a non-negotiable. You and I have to commit ourselves to a life of continued transformation. Who I am today has to be better than who I was yesterday. Who I'll be tomorrow has to be better than who I am today. I have to continually submit to a process of transformation because that's the basis from which I lead, right? So transformation, come, follow me, I will make you. Transformation, fishers of men, assignment. So assignment was not the first thing, but the last thing that he mentioned. Just like in Genesis 1:28, God says, let us make man in our image and likeness, identity, which by the way, relationship also helps to build identity, in our own image and likeness, and let them have dominion, assignment. So he began with identity and then assignment. Jesus began with relationship, transformation, and then assignment. So whenever we flip the order of our approach, when we are too passionate about the assignment and not the relationship or the transformation, we soon hit a ceiling. And we can apply this in so many ways, right? We can apply this in so many ways. Think about always just wanting to give the person that you work with an assignment, something to do. They have never really gotten your heart. They've never really gotten your ability to relate with them, to understand where they are, to connect with them. And so all they are receiving is assignment, is what to do, what to do, what to do. And soon enough, because the person that leads them is not attentive enough to connect with them based on where they are, to understand where the motivations are, what their motivations are, to understand what their struggles or ambitions may be, soon that individual may begin to short-circuit, or they will not so short-circuit, but you will just never experience the best of them. They will give you the bare minimum. Just get it done And that's it. Just get whatever doesn't get them fired or whatever doesn't get them, rebuked. They'll do the bare minimum. They'll do the bare minimum. But when these things come before assignment, for you and I who walk with the Lord Jesus, when we are founded in submission and relationship, when we are committed to transformation, as we engage in assignment, we are engaging from a pure state. We are engaging from a state that has been challenged, a state that has been molded, a state that has gone through different kinds of processes and makings. And now we can execute the assignment better. And by the way, it then doesn't mean this cycle ends. Those things now begin to go on simultaneously. So you're in relationship, you are being transformed, but you're also in assignment. Assignment, however, is also important. I didn't speak of it in that way to disregard its value. It's important. Why? I have learned, I'm talking about what I have learned, responsibility is the platform for maturity. Responsibility is a platform for maturity. If you show me someone who avoids any level or manner of responsibility, you are showing me someone who's refusing to mature. And if you show me someone who challenges themselves, even if they are going to fail at the assignment, but with the willingness to try it, to engage, to be responsible, you are showing me someone who's maturing, right? And of course, maybe you can even think of this yourself. NLS says true, and of course, Chivesa, they are just re-echoing our model, the Jesus model, relationship and submission, transformation, assignment. And maybe you can think of this yourself as well. For those of you who are junior parents, probably you have seen that being able to take care of your siblings, or maybe you had a tough time growing up with what was available to you, and you had to fend for yourself so much. That level of responsibility, it forces you to mature. It forces you to come into a certain level of growth that you would have not come into had you not taken on the assignment. That's what responsibility does. It flashes out growth. So demand draws out potential. All of us have potential in different areas. But unless there's a demand, then the potential will come out, So let me use this example. I had to use this example, but maybe it will also help to communicate the point. Think of this in the negative sense, right? Some of us may have thought there's a certain potential we never had, a potential to get angry that we never had, until someone did something to you or to someone that you care about. Then your potential of being upset came to 100% on display. You saw the full extent of how upset you really can get. Why? There was a demand, and that demand draws out potential. Now flip that in a positive sense. There is no telling just the level of potential that we sit with until there's a demand, and that demand draws out potential. So this is one of the lessons that I learned. The Jesus model starts with, come, follow me. I will make you fishers of men. And you can look at that from both angles. From you following, and from you leading. Yeah? Tio has experienced road rage, right? You never knew you could get that upset until someone cut you, right? So those are some of the things that we can learn from how Jesus led, who is the greatest leader of all time. So I don't know what some of your lessons have been from this. I'm getting ready to close as I add a bonus lesson, but also just looking to see what your lessons are from this session or from just life in general. So I'm getting ready to close with the bonus lessons that I learned here, and then we'll call it a morning. Again, special thanks to Mam Paswani for allowing us the time and the opportunity to be here and to share these lessons. All right. So I already shared the lesson to say to be respected is not to be trusted. Those are two different things. Then the other lesson that I've learned, which can also be applied from both angles, you as a follower and you as a leader, is you can be impressive or you can be inspiring. Okay. You can be, as a leader, you can be impressive or you can be inspiring. What's the difference? When my goal is to be impressive, I can impress you. I can impress you in how I show up, in terms of how I dress. I can impress you with how I speak. I can impress you. If I determine to be impressive, I can be impressive. But the challenge or the trouble with being impressive is that it doesn't inspire change, or it doesn't inspire people to join you. So people who are impressed, do you know what they do? People who are impressed stand back and they simply clap for you. They are impressed. But people that are inspired come forward and join you. So as one who is leading, as a sibling, as a parent, as a director, as a CEO, as a business owner, as a husband, or in whatever capacity, you can be impressive or you can be inspiring. If you want to be impressive, you'll be clapped for. But when you're inspiring, you'll be joined on the mission. On the flip side, what I learned is in terms of me as a mentee, I determine that I can be impressive or I can be humble enough to learn. I don't know if you've ever found yourself in this trap where you're talking with your mentor or with your pastor or with your leader, where you just want to say all the right things so that they can be impressed that you're in a good state or you know what you're talking about. So you want to impress them. But the reason we go to people that we wants to get help from is not to impress them, but to get help. So you can be impressive or you can be acquiring of the knowledge, the information, the lessons that are going to build you. So you can make up your mind. Will I be impressive or will I be humble enough to actually learn and be taught? Will I be impressive or will I be inspiring? So those are bonus lessons. The final bonus lesson is that leadership is a mindset. Leadership is a mindset. And it's a mindset, it's a muscle, it's an attitude. So the more you engage in the art and practice of leadership, the better you become, the better you strengthen the muscle. And I've observed this. There are people that I have done life with, we have done life together for quite a while, and because we've talked about leadership so much, leadership is responsibility. It is a mindset, it's an attitude. And because we've echoed this so much over the years, there's something that I've begun to realize whenever we are in a setup. So what we have begun to see is wherever we go, when we are in a meeting, in a group of people, and there's perhaps a call for a volunteer or a call for someone to speak, to give their expectations or to just come forward and do something, what we have begun to realize is one from our group is going to stand, and I don't think they even realize what's going on, but it's because for us, we've emphasized so much the mindset of leadership, that leadership is responsibility, that you can't be in a room with any one of us and there's a challenge and none of us stands. There's a call to volunteer for something and none of us stands. It's a lie. Because leadership is a mindset. And the mindset that we've emphasized to ourselves is that leadership is responsibility. So we take the responsibility. We take the challenge. If the chairs are in disarray, we are not waiting to be taught, because leadership is a mindset. We don't conform to the status quo. We challenge the status quo. The mindset is been shifted over the years. So wherever there is something that has to be done, we're not thinking of who will do it. We're thinking of what will happen if I don't do it, because leadership is a mindset. Remember, I end with where we started. Not everyone who leads is in a position, and not everyone in a position leads. So leadership is a mindset. Yes, Tionenje, leadership is a mindset. It's an attitude. It's a muscle. It's an art. that you and I can practice.